For all you married brothers out there, married men, period. Um, if your wife, spouse was barren, couldn't have children, how would you feel if she offered her servant to you to have relations with her, sex, to bear a child for you and your spouse? How would you feel? That will be covered today, first and foremost. This is actually a second go round for me. I had to do a part two to odd sexual occurrences in the Bible. So this is like 6.2, part two, whatever you want to call it, but not yet video 7. I am Mr. Unique Thought, and welcome to Dubious Scriptures. Let's see what happens with that particular question in the Bible. I will be reading from both the King James Version as well as the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures, just for that similar comparison to try to just talk to both parties who are interested in both, but still answering these questions, things of this nature. I want to start with my usual humbleness, if I may call it, and try to speak to all in a respectful manner and say this, my usual. I do respect how meaningful the Bible is to so many, and I'm generally interested in a better understanding of it. This is extremely touchy topics and subjects, but of course I don't intend to offend no one, even though I know I may do so by a mistake. I apologize in advance, but this is mainly to get an alternate understanding, better understanding. Of course, I will give opinions, my personal opinions, and inquiries. I prefer this to incite dialogue over debate. I strongly believe the Word, the Bible, I believe it's been changed to fit man's benefits, power, control, etc. So I am challenging what's being presented to us. And again, this is mostly to incite dialogue, understanding, further insight, etc. So let us go ahead and start this off. I'm going to start in Genesis, in the New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures, Genesis chapter 16, verse 1 through 6. I'll start there for us. Please follow along, amazing viewers out there if you must, or a good listen is good as well. So Genesis chapter 16, my apologies, 1 through 6. It says, "Now Abram's wife Sarai, if pronounced correctly, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar." Strange name. "So Sarai said to Abram, 'Please now, Jehovah has prevented me from bearing children. Please have relations with my servant. Perhaps I can have children by means of her.' So Abram listened to what Sarai said. After Abram had lived for 10 years in the land of Canaan, Abram's wife Sarai took her Egyptian servant Hagar and gave her to her husband as his wife. So he had relations with Hagar, and she became pregnant. When she realized that she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. At this, Sarai said to Abram, 'The injury you done to me is your fault. I was the one who put my servant in your arms.' But when she realized that she was pregnant, she began to despise me. May Jehovah judge between me and you." So Abram said to Sarai, "Look, your servant," just turning the page, "your servant is under your authority. Do to her whatever you think is best." Then Sarai humiliated her, and she ran away from her. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, of course, I take issue with that. Here's why. Miss Sarai, or Sarah later, it's how can you say is his fault when you came up with the idea? This is what draws concern with me. They had a personal relationship with God. Jehovah God. Why did they not just come to God and say, hey, God, I seem to not be able to bear children. Can you fix me? Or can you help out? Can you bless us with this child? Instead of coming up with this idea. Then here's my other concern. Like, did not the three of them sit down and have a conversation? Like, here's the plan, here's what we want to do. Like, the Bible clearly says that Hagar she was angry, she was disgusted that she got pregnant, and was mad about it. And I'm like, okay, did you not think you may get pregnant having sex with this man? I mean, I get it. Like nowadays, and I'm sure some days after those biblical times, you can have sex and not get pregnant on one occurrence. You could. But the Bible doesn't say how many occurrences they had. It just says they had sex and she got pregnant. So from my understanding, or just reading it as is, she got pregnant off the first occurrence. And I'm like, okay, you went along with it, I guess being an obedient servant, and you got pregnant. Again, where was the conversation between the three of them? Whereas Sarai said, hey, the goal is for you to get pregnant. I can't bear children. I want you to have a child for me. You're being a surrogate mother or parent or whatever. And Hagar would, say yes or no. More than likely, yes, because she's a servant and she's under her will or whatever, I guess. Here's my other issue with this arrangement. Abram. It's like, as a husband, he didn't reject the idea. He didn't say, nah, baby, you ain't got to do that. Let's go and talk to God and ask him to bless us. Same thing she could have done. He just went right along with it, little dirty dog, okay. And then and what was up with the verse saying, after 10 years in Canaan, it happened. What that got to do with anything? Are they saying she waited 10 years before she gave her servant to him? Like, what's the purpose of mentioning the 10 years? Confusing. So anyway, yeah, that's my issue with that. I mean, she got some nerve to have an attitude with Hagar. Hagar has the nerve, some nerve to have an attitude about getting pregnant. Like, what did you think this was? Just let's just have fun and have sex. Hey, you can have my husband. It's like, what again? Where was the dialogue to prevent all these animosities? That just made no sense to me. So, questionable sexual occurrences, as I said, part 2. I want to share another one. I know in the first video, I didn't want to really cover too much rape. I covered like one of the worst ones, but here's another one that I appreciate has some justice behind it versus the one in my first video. That poor girl, that poor concubine, she didn't get justice. She died and then was cut up. So anyway, let's move on to this one. I will be reading Genesis chapter 34, verses 1 through 4, and I'm going to start the King James Version. King James Version, it says, and Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land, hanging out, kicking it, I guess. And when Shechem, if pronounced correctly, the son of Hamor, and the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob. And he loved the damsel and spake kindly unto the damsel. Okay. And Shechem spake unto his father Hamor, saying, get me this damsel to wife. Okay, so that was the King James Version. Let's see what the New World Translation says. Now, same chapter 34 in Genesis, and we will go to 1 through 4. Now Dinah, Jacob's daughter, by Leah, used to go out to spend time with the young women of the land. When Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, a chieftain of the land, saw her, he took her and lay down with her and violated her. And he became very attracted to Dinah, and the daughter of Jacob, and he fell in love with the young woman and spoke persuasively to her. Finally, Shechem said to to Hamor, his father, get me this this young woman to be my wife. Yeah. So again, Shechem got some nerve. I don't like how there was no explanation of a fight. Like they just said in both Bibles, he saw her laid with her and defiled her. It's like, okay, don't you mean he saw her, defiled her by laying with her? Anyway, I don't like that it didn't give enough meat and gravy. Like by her being defiled, obviously he raped her, which was again horrible in itself. But then he wants to speak kindly of her and asks his father to give her as his wife. It's like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? Why didn't you just go to him? Hey, Dad, I like her. You got a good relationship with this family. Can you ask the family? Can I marry her? Why are you just gonna go rape her? You just gonna straight go on to this woman like that? Like dirty SOB, just dirty. So, but even though this bad thing occurred to her, I love the fact that he reaped something. He got what was coming to him, which I love. Let's go to that right now. I'm eager to read that one. So let's go to Genesis chapter 34 again, 25 to 29. Let's get some of this here justice. All right. So Genesis, New World Translations of the Holy Scriptures first, chapter 34, which will be 25 to 29. However, on the third day, when they were still in pain, two sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brothers, each took his sword and went into the unexpected city and killed every male, all of them. They killed Hamor and his son Shechem with the sword and then took Dinah from Shechem's house and left. Jacob's other sons came upon the slain men and plundered the city because they had defiled their sister, plundered the city. They took their flocks, their herds, their donkeys, and whatever was in the city and in the field. They also took all their possessions, captured all their little children and their wives, and plundered everything in the houses. That's serious. Yeah, that's some good revenge right there for what happened to their poor sister. I love that. That was real. That's men taking justice, taking it back. Like that sorry Shechem just took it from their sister. They took justice back and killed that sucker.